Okay, let's get to the biggest sports story in Detroit, and it's kind of a rough one to talk about. We talked about it yesterday, and it got to the deep end of the pool real quick, and that was the Chris Bosio firing. And for people who missed it, he came out with an explanation or his side of the story regarding the insensitive comments that led to his firing. His side of the story makes it sound like it's a giant misunderstanding. He said that he was somebody brought up Daniel Stumpf. Someone in our coach's room asked me about Stumpf, and I said, "Oh, you mean Spider Monkey? That's his nickname. He's a skinny little white kid who makes all these faces when he works out." The kid thought we were talking about him, the kid being a clubhouse attendant. He got all upset. He assumed we were talking about him, and I said, no, we're talking about Stumpf. And that was it. I swear on my mom and dad's grave, there was nothing else to it. Daniel Stumpf told the Free Press, "Spider Monkey is not a nickname I've been called or I am familiar with." So,
where do you go from there?
I don't know. Bosio told USA Today, and this is from the Free Press today. So he writes, or he says, "I didn't deny it, but it was directed at Stumpf and the face he makes when he lifts weights. That's it." Al said, "We all got our information and we're firing you because of your insensitive comments." And I said, "Comments?" There was one comment and it wasn't even directed at the kid. Al said, "We in Major League Baseball have a zero tolerance policy." I said, "Al, I don't have any issue with anybody. I didn't cross the line. I'm really sorry, but that's not my intent. I can't believe this." He also told USA Today, "I'm crushed. I'm absolutely crushed. I still can't believe it's gotten to this point. I'm in shock. I got to protect myself in some way because this is damaging as hell to me. I've got to fight for myself. Everyone knows this is not me. I didn't use profanity. There was no vulgarity. The N-word wasn't used. No racial anything. It wasn't a comment and a nickname we used for a player. This kid and I had a great relationship. The kid played jokes on me all spring, and I told him, 'Now you're offended because you heard the word monkey or spider monkey and it's not even directed at you?' We all crack fat jokes on our trainer every day. All kinds of things are said in baseball clubhouses, and this happened to me. I don't know what else to say, but I know I don't deserve this." Somebody's not telling the truth here.
Yeah,
and I mean, I've heard stuff above and beyond this. I think if you ask me what I think this is, I think this is Chris Bosio trying to save his reputation.
But there's no question, and trying to figure out how he's going to get the next job, because if this is true, and I applaud the Tigers for making a quick and decisive movement on it. It'd be hard to get that next job unless you create some reasonable doubt that I didn't say this or it wasn't a disrespectful comment, and that's where it all comes down to is there's been a lot of times in locker rooms where you have conversations with friends. It doesn't even have to be in a locker room, but you may be in a car, you may be just hanging out with the guys at home, where you use terms with your friends that you would never use anywhere else because it's not said in a disrespectful manner. It's used as my friends call me fat all the time, and I have no problem with that because I'll fire right back with maybe the next level, and that's just what guys do. But when it comes down, I think what it comes down to is, was it meant in disrespect? Whatever was said, whether it was this or another term, and if it was meant in disrespect, the Tigers did what they had to do.
Which is why I feel like it clearly is more than this.
It has to.
It has to be more than this. And I don't want to say that that Chris Bosio's lying, but I can't see him getting fired for this. I can't see him getting fired for this. By all accounts, and I talked to somebody today, said as a pitching coach, genius. As a pitching coach. Mm-hmm. So think about how tough it must be to fire a guy that is in some circles considered a genius at his job. Like, you don't want to fire him. But you don't fire him for a misunderstanding. It doesn't make any sense. No,
and you know that there had to be a meeting where they said, "Did you say this? Did you is this true?" And whatever came out of that meeting wasn't sufficient for the Tigers to say, "Okay, we understand, we'll move on." They said they didn't understand why he would do something, and they moved on without him.
Yeah. Now, we were talking about this in the office before the show, and you, in your career, when you were with the Redskins when the Richie Incognito, Jonathan Martin situation happened, right?
No, I was actually I think I was actually retired at that time.
All right.
Yeah.
And you were asked to go on the CBS pregame show to talk about locker room talk.
Yep.
And for people who don't remember, Richie Incognito was basically hazing Jonathan Martin when he was a rookie or a young player. Richie Incognito was a veteran. And
that's the accusation.
Yeah. And you were asked on national TV about locker room talk. And what did you say?
I told him that the locker room is the least racial place, the least it just isn't a place where guys worry about color of skin, about preferences in what you do off the field, whether you're gay, straight, whatever you are. It was the only discrimination we had was, can you help us win or not? If you can't help us win, we weren't going to be mean to you. We just didn't have any use for you. And, if you could help us win, it didn't matter. That's the whole point of professionals. That's the whole point of sports, is to win. And if you can help us win, that's all that mattered. It didn't. In this whole thing that got blown out of proportion. Yeah, and I agree that there's a part of hazing that is a rite of passage. And I wouldn't use the word hazing, because there are things that you have to do as a rookie, like carrying the pads off the field. That's not hazing. That's just you got to do that because you do that for 1 year, and then the rest of your career, you got another rookie doing it for you. But there are things that you have to go through as a rite of passage to earn the respect of your teammates, because we did it when we were rookies, and you're going to do it as a rookie, and you're going to make other rookies do it. There's also a line that has to be drawn where, until, again, it comes down to respect. Until you gain the respect of me or I gain your respect, there has to be a line that you don't cross, because you don't know where that line is with that individual. And when it came down to the whole Richie Incognito and Jonathan Martin deal, in knowing Richie, all right, he probably pushed the line quite a bit, but it sounded like those two guys, and I didn't know Jonathan Martin, I don't know him now, but it sounded like those two guys had a relationship where they could fire things back and forth, and it was mutual. And then all of a sudden, because Jonathan Martin isn't playing the way he wanted to play, or he may be getting cut or whatever, this comes out. It didn't sit well with me. And so when they asked me on CBS, what's the locker room like? And I told them, I said, it's the least racial place. It's the least discriminatory place I've ever been, because we all have one goal, and that's to win games.
So the only value system that was put in place was winning.
Yeah, winning.
And nobody else cared about the rest of that stuff. And that's one of the great things about sports.
No question.
However, nobody would ever want the locker room conversation broadcast live.
No, not at all.
And it's a safe place.
Supposed to be.
But I kind of feel like that's changing.
It is. And you look at our society, everything's changing.
Yep.
And hopefully for the better. We got the Me Too movement. We've always had topics surrounding and regarding racism, and that all needs to change. But it all comes down to respect. You have to respect the people that are around you. You have to respect your fellow man or woman, whoever it is. And if you have that in the front of your mind, we won't have any of these problems.
248-539-9796.